externship presentation here this morning afternoon for our in-service professional development here at the school. My name is Madeline Jackson, and I'm the externship coordinator for 5 departments in the school. There are other externship departments which include health administration, medical assisting, and others. In this particular presentation, we will be discussing career services and also information about externships as it relates to accounting, IT, criminal justice, paralegal, and business. How many of you in class here today are members of those particular areas? Raise your hand, please. All right. And what area are you part of? Mathematics. That's general studies, which is very important. That's a foundation course. And you are?
General studies or history.
General studies. Now, general studies is inclusive of the entire body of knowledge here at the school, so that's a given. All right, so without any personal ado, I'll introduce you to Michelle Brin, who is our Director of Career Services. Thank you.
How you doing?
Hi.
Hi. Excuse me I'm going to take a second to warm up because I was in the middle of an hour-long Director of Career Service call, and it makes my mind into cotton. I'm thrilled you're here. Madeline said that she spoke about her departments or her divisions that she covers, but we're talking about career services, externships, and how it affects you, how you affect us, etc., for the whole school. Okay? I gave you a blank sheet of paper, and I gave you that because what I'd like you to do as we go through this presentation is first of all jot some notes down as to how might I be affected by this? How can I add to it? What kinds of questions do I have? All right, and hopefully we'll come back to that as we go through. So Brown Mackie College, Greenville, it's a whole school. We're talking about the puzzle piece of career services. I threw this up here just because I can. I'm in charge, so I can. You should know my family, and that includes the furry ones. And, well, my sons are kind of furry too. The guys with the beards and their girlfriends, they live in Denver and Seattle. Thrilled, and that's me and my family. The other part that I put up there are pictures of me rappelling down the Bank of America building last month or 2 months ago. And I put that up there, number one, so that you know I'm a little bit crazy. And number two, to kind of bring the analogy to trust, and that was a lot of fun for me. And why was it fun for me? Because I totally trusted the equipment. I totally trusted the equipment. So then I can have fun. The rest of it was just easy. And when I looked at those pictures, I thought of our students and I thought of Brown Mackie. Our students put their entire life's future trust for that future in our hands. Whether it be you teaching them the skills they need for their job, or whether it's me helping them have a resume that somebody might look at, or matching them up to an interview, or whatever it is. They're taking their entire future and trusting Brown Mackie College with that. So that's a pretty big responsibility, and I just wanted to point that out before we go further. I would imagine, I was into organizational development, and that's what I did for years at the Chamber. So that picture, kind of, well, it's something I related to often. And I would imagine on a day-to-day basis, you might think that that's what Brown Mackie College looks like. Just a whole bunch of disconnected activities going on. And that's really not the case. I was an adjunct professor at Greenville Tech for years. And I know as an adjunct, I would go in, I would teach my class, I'd have a great time, and I'd go home. And I didn't necessarily know what the goals and measures and the aim of Greenville Tech was. I just knew what my class was. And I would imagine that that's probably true or possibly true for many of you as adjuncts, or even as full-time faculty. You're doing your piece. And I just want you to know that from where I sit, which is Director of Career Services and a member of the EC team, Brown Mackie College is quite aligned. And we're aligned with two things. We have two key measures as a school, and everything else that is done really is aligned to those two measures, and that is retention and job placement. Those really are the only two measures that accreditation comes through and that EDMC looks at, is retention and job placement. So what does that mean for you as teachers? Okay, that little piece of blank sheet of paper. What do you do every day? And I'm gonna ask for discussion later, but rhetorically right now, or to think about for later, what do you do that relates to retention and job placement? And what can you do, if not already, related to retention and job placement? Now, we're a college, so if I were in your seat, and I know that you work every day, 1,000,000 hours a day on teaching, I'd almost be a little bit perturbed. It's like, wait a minute, we're a college, and where's education in all this? Because we are an institution, first and foremost, of learning. But the two measures are retention and placement. Okay? But when you think about it again, none of it can happen without academics and faculty, because we are an institution of higher education. We are an institution of learning. But what you do every day in the classroom hopefully helps keep the students here and prepares them for that job placement, as does every other person in this building. Okay? And I'd like you, if nothing else by the end of the day, have a lens on that's a little bit different. As you look at everybody in the building, what do we do related to retention and placement? Career service team. I love that slide. I love that slide. We've got a great team right now in career services. We've always had a good team, but we have a really good one right now. Madeline Jackson does the externship work for all of the non-medical programs. So that means she meets with each student, she gets to know what they're looking for, what their dream is, what their hopes are, what their skills are. And on the other hand, she's out there meeting all these employers and try to make the match and find somebody who will take that student. And she'll go through more details later as to all the other missing pieces. But she does the externship for all the non-medical folks. Granada does the externship for healthcare admin and medical assisting. Then the specialty departments have their own externship coordinators, such as OTA and Kelly Beal, and nursing, and who else? Those are the only two other departments, right? Surge Tech. And Surge Tech, thank you. Renee is the career service advisor. She works specifically with all of Madeline's students, non-medical and Surge Tech. And it's her job to work with those students throughout the year on job search skills, on employment skills, you know, writing the resumes, getting ready, and mock interviews, and then helping them get placed. Jerry Lynn works with the medical, and I'm pointing to the darn animal. I'm sorry, those are cute little animals, but that's not what the people look like. Jerry Lynn and Renee are next door. Please go look at their faces if you don't know them. They're cute there. But Jerry Lynn works with healthcare admin and medical assisting. I personally work with the OTA students, and we'll be working with the nurse graduates. And our nursing will have their first graduating group in January. So we'll learn together just as I learned together with OTA. And by the way, if we don't let go of those students, we start meeting with them 3 months prior to graduation, if not before. But I'll get to this again later. You've seen me interrupt your classes asking for student X or student Y or student Z. That's usually 3 months before graduation. And then we really do not let go of them until we know they're placed in a job. And not only placed in a job, but that it is approved by our higher ups. I mean, there's a lot of paperwork that we have to go through to get that done. But we don't let go of them until then. And then, as I say to all of our grads, they're alum forever. So we work with them forever if they want our care later. Just to give you an idea of some numbers. Our fiscal year and calendar, our fiscal year starts July 1 and ends June 30th. Okay? So fiscal year 2012, we had 170 graduates. Now remember, our school just celebrated its 5th birthday. So the year prior to that, 2011, I think we only had 16 grads. Okay? But fiscal year 2012, we had 170 graduates, and we had 22 waivers. Now waivers count if a student continues on in school. In other words, they graduated as an associate, they go on to wanting to get a bachelor's degree. If they come back to school, that's called a waiver. We don't have to place them in a job. Okay? If they are medically unable to look for a job, they get a waiver. So we had 22 waivers and we had 99 students in jobs. We were at 66.9% placement rate. That year, our goal was 65%. The following year, the goal jumped up to 70, and it remains at 70 right now. We must place 70% of our graduates in jobs, in field, in order to keep our accreditation. Yeah, that's why I have gray hair. I didn't have gray hair 3 years ago. But yes, 70% of our students must be placed in jobs in field. Okay, so we work in this fabulous community where BMW is huge, where the auto suppliers to BMW are huge, where Michelin's huge. But if one of our graduates is an IT graduate and gets a job flipping tires at Michelin, earning benefits and a good salary, it doesn't count. Got it? Okay. Not only must we reach 70% placement, but we also must reach 70% placement in every department. Or that department goes on report. Okay. So career placement's really, really important. And it's important for us because that's where the ball stops, if you will. But it really is important to all of us because that's what is a measurement of our healthy school. Okay, and it's what keeps us having our doors open. For this fiscal year, as of the other day, we had 108 graduates already. Time goes fast, but we've already had 108 graduates. We're projecting around 270. Okay, and that's based on how many students are in school right now. And of course, retention, of course, is key. So we need to keep those 170 in school. Because retention, I think the goal is 70% also. And I'm not exactly sure. Drew is the expert on retention. Any questions on this?
Will you be able to comment on how the admission process actually works?
Admission?
Right, in terms of preparing students to enter the school, what role that plays?
Write that question down and I'll come back to it. And I will answer it from a general point of view, and then somebody specifically can give you the specifics. But yeah, one of the things though that's really quite interesting, and again, this is retention, as well as you guys doing the good job you do. Do you see the number of waivers went from 22 to 44? A lot of that has to do with our students coming back. Associate's degrees coming back for their bachelor's. I mean, that's retention too. We have a lot of students who come back. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It also, though, makes Madeline's job more difficult and the external coordinators, because now we're looking at not only an externship placement for a criminal justice associate